Who is she? Lottie Person is a glamorous fashion blogger living the best life. At least that's what she wants you to think. Truth is, her allergies are out of control, her friends are terrible people, her boyfriend traded her up for somebody younger, or she may or may not have killed somebody. It's the first volume of Snotgirl, and things will never be the same. Welcome everybody to another exciting episode, another edition of A Week in Geekdom here on YouTube. I am your host, Giovanni Menendez, and yes folks, welcome to a very weird review. Why do I say weird? Because it is the first time I will cover a book that involves snot. But hey, here is our review for the first ever volume of Snotgirl from Image Comics by Brian Lee O'Malley and art by Leslie Hung. Now you're probably wondering, is Snotgirl really worth it? I will tell you in a second, but first let me explain something to you guys. I am attracted to big, beautiful, colorful things, and books like this where the art is so vibrant, fun, and just funny overall. Of course I want to read it as soon as humanly possible. It is a very fun and hip comic book. It knows its audience, it trusts its audience to have fun with it and not take things so seriously. Now what the hell is Snotgirl? Basically Lottie, which you see here as the main protagonist, Lottie is a fashion blogger. Now that being her profession in and of itself is actually pretty damn interesting, and I'll tell you why. I do YouTube videos as a side gig. I don't get paid for any of this, but I really enjoy it. I love making videos. I love having a YouTube channel and getting to talk about my favorite books, reviewing stuff, talking about games and movies and all that stuff. I love it. I love that you guys can be entertained by what I do. For that reason alone, I can sympathize with the character heavily. And just the fact that I can bring you just a little bit closer into the A Week in Geekdom life, if you will, is an amazing feeling, an amazing experience. I love the fact that I can share some cool stuff with you guys, and you get to understand a little bit about that person. Now for bloggers, you're constantly writing and you're updating on a daily basis on what you're doing. It's almost like running a public diary. For Lottie, such is the case. She is a fashion blogger. I am not into the whole fashion game whatsoever, but I do sympathize with the character. She has a double life. You're probably wondering, why is this book called Snotgirl? Well, that's very simple. She's got allergies, so that is an internal biological problem that she uses as a self-mechanism to avoid reality and avoid people. Cyberspace can provide that freedom where you're writing. Now when she meets people, she has to take medicine to control the allergies because she wants to present herself at the top of the game, and a lot of people do that nowadays. You want to show your best side to everybody, and it is the same with this character. She takes those medicines and she meets up with several other bloggers, which she likes to appoint nicknames because she's having a hard time remembering their names. Now Snotgirl basically is a story about this blogger and her slice of life misadventures. It's very comedic based. There's a lot of humor in this title. It's very contemporary, very millennial-ish. There is a lot of usage of lingo from 2016, 2017. It is very current and hip. And at the same time, I think this is the first comic book where emojis and emoticons are part of the conversation as well. So it was actually pretty trippy to see the emoji clip art being used in a dialogue box inside a comic book. Never thought I would see that. But yeah, Brian, of course, you know him, you love him from his work in previous books, especially a little known title that is Scott Pilgrim. Gets characters right. He knows how to write teenage characters and the stuff that they go through and their anxiety and their issues. And if I'm not mistaken, the character is 20 something, but you do get that insecurity that people go through, especially if you run social media and you're trying to present a life that is very much different from your own personal space. Then yeah, you are going to present yourself in a completely different way. There's going to be some barriers which people might not realize. Now the story for the most part starts out as a slice of life, but takes an interesting turn when she meets this cool girl that is completely opposite of what she does. Now, without spoiling much, the first volume of Snotgirl consists of a very basic plot. Basically, this blogger has just found out that her ex-boyfriend is dating one of her former friends slash intern, Charlene, and yeah, she's not too happy about it. She meets other people and starts conversing about what to do, and things take a very interesting and weird turn when they get to a certain party, and this cool girl that I mentioned earlier is there as well. I cannot spoil what happens because this is the main plot of the book, but that meeting is very eventful. Basically, this book has very quick, witty humor, very millennial references, and just a tiny hint of what's to come when you start peering into the darkness of what really is going on. And when you start looking at it, this book is really a reminder of Aronofsky's Black Swan, which in and of itself is inspired by one of my favorite animated movies ever, Satoshi Kon's Perfect Blue. I get hints of that, but of course in a very comic booky feel. So if you like stories like that, like Black Swan and Perfect Blue, and you want to read more a little bit about it, but a little bit more lighthearted, I guess, then I wholeheartedly suggest you pick up Snotgirl. Great writing, great characters, actually really funny stuff. Some of the negatives in the book, I might add, are that towards the end of the book, I think by issue 4, the transition from the final 2 issues of the book is a little choppy. I don't know if it's intentional, but it can be a little confusing. I was reading the end of that issue and then it jumps to something completely different, a different setting, and I couldn't right away see why the 2 issues were related. So that might deter some people. Obviously the whole millennial thing and the emojis and it being such a hip and trendy book, if you will, that might stir some readers away from trying it out. But if you like big, colorful, bombastic fun, then yeah, give it a shot. If it's not up to your alley, that's okay too. I know that it's not for everybody, but if you're willing to read something about people trying to expose themselves in a different light when it comes to public perception and how they feel inside and their insecurities and all that stuff, and the world of the rise of the internet stardom with the bloggers and the content creators and all that stuff, then yeah, it could be worth it for you. Now for the art, which is the last thing I'm going to touch on because it is the best thing about this book, it is just fantastic. Leslie Hung is a beautiful artist. Just the book just drips with personality, and you see it with Lottie's hair and with the allergies and the mucus and all that stuff. Green is a very important color. Obviously the title of the book is Snotgirl, and you see that throughout the art, and one of the main selling points is the art. Leslie just kills it with the art. Every character has a distinct personality, whether it be Sunny, which is Lottie's ex-boyfriend, Charlene, she's more timid, but at the same time, not so much. And you get all the other bloggers, which are very weird and eccentric characters. Everybody has a different voice, a different style, and I really, really enjoyed that. I think at first I was a little hesitant to where the story was going, but the end threw me for a loop, and it's got me questioning things, and hopefully it takes a turn for the better and improves wholeheartedly. I can't wait for volume 2. Hopefully it stays on the right path. So if this is something that you might be interested in, then yeah, I definitely recommend Snotgirl for a fun time. And if you don't like mucus, stay away, because it is a very mucus heavy book at times. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching another installment here at A Week in Geekdom. As always, you can follow me on your favorite social media platform, from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and many more. Just type A Week in Geekdom, and I'm there for you guys. Alright, I got more stuff to read and review for you, and I will catch all of you on our next video.